No Brains, No Headache podcast, episode 254 starts right about now. We're back in the studio, ready for another recording of this mindlessly entertaining show coming to you from Bismarck, North Dakota. Name's Jordan. Going to be your host today. Thank you. Happy to be here. Damn glad to do so. Across from me, the man in the absolutely ridiculous jumpsuit, having a Busch Light, the way it should be, back to the roots. It's a fellow comedian, co-host of the show, longtime friend. Some people call him Ongo. Some people call him Applesauce. It is Matt Cleary. Matt, how are we doing today?
Thank you for having me.
As always.
Lake episode.
Yes, this is our second attempt at recording episode 254. You know, you branch out. You want to do something fun. Try to do something different. And I know I've been promising one for a while. I don't know. We pressed record. I thought, hey, I'm just going to put my computer and the mixer in the shade so it doesn't just get beat by the sun. And, about 4 minutes in, it stopped recording. I'm happy we realized that 30 minutes in.
And not 60.
Yeah, imagine recording a whole hour, and then I realized that. So, hey, you live and you learn. So we're going to just have to push the lake episode to July, but now I know what I need to do. Hey, it's hard to produce a show and host it as well. It's nice to have a producer, somebody who can keep their eyes on that. You know, I was focused on other things like, how many drinks can I have during this episode? Why am I sweating so much? At one point, do I go jump in the water really quick mid-episode? So,
that was one of those, like, we realized it wasn't going, and then most podcasters be like, all right, start this up and get going. So we're like, beers?
Well, and I was just trying to look for a count. I was just trying to see, hey, where are we at in the episode? So I said, hey, Matt, do you want to guess, how long we've been going? He's like, 35 minutes. And I get to the thing. I'm like, yep, no, it didn't record past like 4 minutes. I don't know. The mixer shut down. Didn't realize it. Like I said, you live and you learn, but you are correct. We immediately were just like, okay, let's start wrapping up. Let's start packing everything up and just kind of get to it. So,
and everyone that asked that day, they're like, oh, how'd recording the podcast go? I was like, great. It was awesome. Super fun. Like, I was just like, I don't want to like explain this a million times. Kind of like when I raptured myself in the head and I was like, well, I could explain that I have no idea how it happened.
Yeah, so apologies on the lake episode that I did promise. I mean, we were there.
I had a blast.
Were you? I was debating posting the 4 minutes to just be like, here it is. But I figured our loyal listeners deserve more than that. It's our second time recording episode 254, which is funny. You'd think 254 episodes in, you'd figure it out, but we are completely out of our element. In a completely different spot. So, that didn't go as well. I think I'm showing signs of progress with the anger issues. I could have gotten extremely mad, but I was just like, you know what? Whatever. That's just the way it goes.
There was beers to be drank. I brought an 18-pack of Busch Light up there, and that was gone before about 9 o'clock, and I think I was the only one drinking those. So,
yeah, that's going to happen. You got to pack plentiful, especially for the rowdy time we had. So thanks to everybody who saw us this weekend and hung out. That was a lot of fun. Good to see a lot of people. And I guess it's good to know that they did wonder how the podcast went. Terribly. What podcast? The 4-minuter? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but the equipment's up and running now. And let's see. Oh, we're already past the 4-minute mark. So we are already just making some serious progress. But we did the lake episode because I'm living at the lake, so it's small town living, right? The nearest town to me, I looked this up, the population as of 2023, do you want to take a guess?
151.
Pretty close. It's 125 according to the 2023 census, up from 88 from 2020. So the town is growing pretty rapidly.
Does that include your lake?
No, not at all. No.
So I was like, I bet your lake has more people on it than the town does.
Matt, there's 175 cabins at the lake.
So assuming there's at least one person in each of those.
Yes. The lake.
Does anyone have 2 cabins and only one person?
Not that I know of, but...
Yeah, real power move if you had like a north side cabin and a south side cabin.
I mean, if you noticed when we were driving around, there are a couple lots that have like 4 to 5 different structures on them. And it's just like, okay, so... There's the F Shack. That's where you shotgun your beers. That's where you make popcorn.
It's like where you put all your mail. You just open the door, throw the mail inside, and walk away. I do love that one cabin. I was like, look at that boner of a cabin. And it's like literally 4 feet wide that just goes like.
Oh, yeah. Those poor people. But I do see the UPS guy driving around. There is a farm nearby, and we kind of share the same road. So I'm assuming... He's headed there. I could be wrong, but I was just like, who's getting packages delivered to
also,
the,
it's kind of a dick
lake?
move if you're like, not really at the lake, but if you were like a one house out there and you have like a...
Well, there's no address.
Yeah. It's like kind of a castaway situation.
Actually, I do think there is an address for each of the It's very complicated. It's like a bunch of letters. It's like so you can't. It's like college algebra.
You don't get mail at the cabin.
No, and the address is it's like a bunch of just a mixture of random numbers and letters, and then ultimately it's for Mercer, North Dakota, which is the small town nearby. But yeah, and that would be interesting power play to make. It's just like, hey, UPS guy, I ordered a bunch of sandbags. Why don't you bring them over to the cabin?
Yeah, I had one of those moments when I woke up Sunday morning where I like kind of like did one of those like Undertaker come back to life moments. I was like, where am I?
Yeah.
And I was sleeping on top of the covers.
I did know. I peeked in the room before I went to bed.
Just...
You were on top of the covers just snoring, and I was like... Right where I left you, which isn't where
we were over at your neighbor's cabin having a couple like late night pops, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. You're like, side door's open, so I go to the side door. It's just locked. I'm like, great.
Probably meant back door.
Oh yeah, I think I ended up there.
Yeah, just keep trying them until one of them opens.
Just a brick. Who puked out here?
Who threw a brick through the goddamn door? Like, well, I had to get in somehow.
I'll pay for that. But yeah, after I woke up in the morning, like I was coming back to life, like didn't have any blood flow, and downstairs, and I was just like, I'm gonna get home and then immediately go back to bed. So I like I think it was like 7:30. I'm driving out, and I almost just drill your dad with my car.
Oh, really? He did say he saw you. He didn't tell me he almost got T-boned.
Well, I didn't really see him. I was like, oh, there's Cubby. Where's that? Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's taking the dogs for a walk.
Yeah, I was like, why is Cubby just walking out here by him? Oh, my God.
Yeah. All your attention is shifted to the right where the dogs are. God bless you. From the left, there's just a body on your hood, just like buff out. Yeah. That is the play, though. When you're just visiting the lake cabin, pretty much the moment you wake up that last morning, it's like, and the lake cabin is notorious for having just extravagant breakfasts. Like the ones you see in like Disney movies where they have a full spread.
Yeah, or like Harry Potter, like somehow they have just a full line to line, like.
Yeah,
everything you
a
could
lot
ever
of
want.
Food, but yeah, we do that at the lake. But I would have done the same exact thing if I were you. It's just like, all right, well, I'm up for the day. Might as well just
because I know what would happen if I stayed. I would have stayed. I would have ate breakfast. Yes. Then I would have fallen back asleep.
Oh,
and then I would have woke up at like 2 p.m. and been like.
I thought you were going to say start drinking.
Oh, I mean, that could easily happen too. You're like a couple beers, and they're like, I guess I could.
Want to go to my room and shotgun some beers? Twist my arm.
You're already in my room.
Yeah. I made it easier for you and just pull out 2 beers that are at perfect temperature. But yeah, I was going to say, now, since I'm living in the small town, maybe you experienced on your drive up there or back, but everybody... Just you have the hand on the steering wheel, and everybody you pass on the highway, you got to give them the old, Sometimes I like to be like really extravagant with it, I'll be driving with the left hand on the steering wheel, and I'll do like a kind of just come out of nowhere last second. I got so carried away with it, Matt, that one night when I was driving, it was pitch black out. People had their lights on. I kept waving to people, and after about like 3 or 4, and I was like, wait, these people cannot see me waving to them. But it is a small town thing. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I try to wave to everyone. I really like the moment you get when someone waves and then you acknowledge it and like they like let you in on traffic or like let you turn.
Great feeling.
It's like we just bonded.
Yeah.
More than I have with some of my family members.
Why don't you meet me at the local swill and I'll pay your tab for you? It's like I just let you in on traffic. Get over here.
Do you want to be in my wedding? Just an usher, but I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out there. You've showed me such a kind soul you are. And then you can't even see from your line of sight. Once they let you through, they just start ripping a crack pipe. Oh, it's like, oh, God damn.
Little do they know they just have a 40-ounce beer in their cup holder.
Keep it coming. Traffic is heavy today. Yeah, I don't know if there's such a thing yet. If you have road rage around these parts, boy, do I have an eye-opener for you.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
No, it isn't. The only thing that really gives me road rage is when people don't yield the right of way, like on side streets.
Yeah, well, and that's just rush hour traffic for you. The other thing I noticed about small towns is if you go on particular nights of the week, they have bingo night. Now, bingo night is nothing new. We're not reinventing the wheel here. It's just bingo night. But they take it rather seriously. Somebody says a bingo, you can just suck the energy out of the place. Final bingo, once somebody says that, people haul ass to the door. They're like, I'm out of here. What did I even come here for? Be back tomorrow at 3? Yep, yeah, have my lunch ready. But, just waving on the highways and getting way too aggressively upset about bingo. It's some of the best parts about small town North Dakota. Happy summer, by the way.
Yeah, who even shows up to small town bingo?
Literally the 125
the old
population.
The olds.
Yeah, that's what it is. And like the moment they're done, it's they start at like 7 or 8. So the moment they're done, they're like, it's getting to be past my bedtime. I had dinner at 3:45 today.
There was this old dude that I used to work with that left work at 3 so he could make it home for dinner.
Which isn't a bad. I think if I am ever find myself in a position like that, I'm probably going to whip out that excuse. And if you establish it early, there's nothing I can do about it.
If you leave work at 3 because you need to make it home for dinner, just retire. Or don't work with me.
Those are both very good options. Yeah, but we got small town living, and it's great. Any more for housekeeping?
No, I had a fun weekend. Thank you for having me up at the lake.
Well, thank you for coming. We got episode 254.
Okay, let's party.
I hammered some hot dogs up at the lake. I had one with a bun. Those buns were delicious, by the way. And one that I just meat wagoned right down my esophagus. And that led me to think that if there was dollar hot dog night at a baseball game, how many are you putting down?
Dollar hot dog night at a baseball game. Assuming I didn't have dinner at 3:45 that day, skip dinner for the sake of the ball game. I would probably say like safely 5 to 7. What are you thinking?
I think I would do one an inning for sure.
Like just for the challenge of it?
No.
Or just because you can?
I'm getting there, and before the first pitch is even thrown, I'm getting 3 hot dogs. Those are done before the first inning's done. Then I'm going to go get a soda or something.
Yeah.
Probably not drinking beer if it's free. If it's dollar hot dog night, I'll tell you that for free.
It's kind of hard to believe, but this is your hypothetical story, so I'm not gonna rain on it.
So then I'm probably gonna go get a soda or something. 2 more hot dogs. So I'm at 5.
Yeah, can I get a Pepsi? We only have Coke. Bush Light.
But yeah, it's a margarita if you have it. I don't know. So I'm at 5, and we're at like the top of the 3rd inning. And then I'm probably going to get one at the bottom of the 3rd when everything settles. Then I'm going to spend the 4th inning on the toilet.
Yeah, are you even sitting in your seats, or are you just at the little mustard and ketchup kiosk?
Yeah, well, what I do
kind
is
of
I
watching
just,
the game.
Yeah, I just watching it on TV at the kiosk that's right in between both bathrooms.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a bite of a hot dog, putting my face under it, and just
spraying the ketchup and mustard.
And then
there.
every time I order a hot dog, even though I know they don't have it, I'm asking if they have relish. And I'm not even going to put it on my hot dog if they have it.
You guys have relish? Yeah, we do. I'm good.
Yeah,
make sure it doesn't make it on my dog.
Can you throw that in the garbage for me? Or yeah, so then I'm going to probably take a dump for the 4th inning, then come back, have another casual hot dog and a soda. Then I'm going to hit my second wind around the 7th inning. 3 more hot dogs.
Okay, and in between, are you actually going to go sit in your seats and watch the game?
Yeah.
Because up to this point, the way you've explained it, you haven't watched a pitch.
Okay, if I'm going to a baseball game and it's dollar hot dog night, I'm not going there.
It sounds like you're going to dollar hot dog night and there happens to be baseball.
Yeah.
You're not going to a baseball game.
Went to dollar hot dog night and a baseball game broke out.
Yeah. That's an aggressive amount of hot dogs. But if you skip dinner at 3:45, you're probably starving Marvin. Yeah. And that's what you got to do to make ends meet when you're at the baseball game.
What about dollar beer night?
Well, let me take a sip of my black raspberry sparkling water. The thing about dollar beer night is, and it could go for dollar hot dog night as well. And, I'm not an economist, but in this economy, it would be hard to pass up, an infinite amount. I still do chuckle when you have, a couple sodas, like actual soda pop. This is not code word for beer. When you have a couple sodas and somebody has the audacity to be like, wow, it's your 3rd Coca-Cola. You could just flip that whole situation, suck down about 10 Busch Lights, nobody's going to bat an eye. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that phenomenon that takes place here on Earth with us humans. But the dollar beer night is something that you need to take advantage of.
I'm going to say this. I think it depends on the company you're having. I think me, you, and a couple of the fellas.
This is true. I always like to be my authentic self at all times. However, if there is, depending on the guest that I'm with, the company that I'm with, I could even see myself, and this is going to sound absolutely terrible, but I could see myself being like, oh, I'm going to go grab a beer. Do you want one? And they're like, oh, no, I'm good. And then order 2, slam 1, perhaps slam another one. Order 2 more, then head back to the seats. I couldn't.
The line was
couldn't
so
find
long.
it.
Yeah, that's I
believe that's called a closeted alcoholic.
Yeah,
Could
when
be
you're
a term.
yeah, we had the same amount of beers, and it's like
They're
little
just
do they know
dragging you by your feet out of there.
Just in a wheelbarrow. The maintenance crew at the ballparks just. This never happened before.
Well, I'm trying to get on the just stick to beers trend. And it's just tough after you have, say you have some beers and then 9 hot dogs. It's the carbonation is tough to get down. You've been drinking it all day. It was nice and refreshing, kept you cooled down. It's time to switch to something else, kind of like the move we made at the lake. Let's head to the old watering hole and get some energy in us, and that's what we did.
Yeah, by the form of vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you prefer for your vodka? You're like, whatever's in the rail. I'm like, whatever's the cheapest.
I don't know what, there's 2 different types of vodka.
Yeah, I was like, there's no place or there's no world where that place has more than 2 types of vodka.
I'm pretty sure it's just, the most normal kind that everybody knows about, and then your rail stuff. That's just the cheap stuff that the distributors drop off. It's probably a sample bottle that some company gave them. It was here, try this. You can't even read a word on the label.
It's Svechnikov's Russian vodka.
That's how you know it's
I'll
good.
say the worst vodka I've ever had is when I was out in Montana and booze is really expensive there, but beer's cheap. And I wanted vodka cranberries for the morning. And so I went and bought the cheapest bottle of vodka I could get, and it was like Mr. Boston's vodka. And I was like, there's no... And it was like, I thought Kharkov was bad. This was like if you strained Kharkov through a dead body.
Yeah.
And that's what it... no amount of... You could put like a couple drops into a 6-ounce glass of cranberry juice, and you'd be like, oh, God!
It reminds me of the time I was working at the old liquor store, and that guy came in, and he's like, vodka? And I was like, what about it?
Yeah.
He's like, do you got any? And I was like, you are in luck. There's a liquor store about 5 blocks. No, I walked him to the vodka aisle, and I asked him what kind. Never heard of it. It was the way bottom shelf at the very end.
Oh, so the cheapest one.
Worst part is he brought it up to the front, couldn't even afford it. I was like, okay.
If there ever comes a time where I'm buying booze with change, not out of me accidentally forgetting my wallet and doing that, because I've done that plenty of times. But if that's like, I need booze and I'm buying it with change, go ahead and just put a bullet in my head.
Yeah, see, I feel a little bit of reassurance by not waking up every day and being like, I could go for a drink. I don't have that. Even the days I do want to drink, it's like, okay, let's wait until a little bit later.
I've hit the point where I'm so excited for coffee in the morning.
I thought about going off of caffeine for a while and just seeing how I react.
I did it for like 6 weeks one time.
And what did you consume?
Water, because I heard this saw this tweet.
Weird.
This guy tweeted and was like, caffeine is a placebo effect. It doesn't actually affect your body. If you hydrate, it does the same thing as caffeine. And so I did that for 6 weeks, and it kind of worked. And then I found out that guy was full of shit.
Well, I think you don't get tired when you drink a bunch of water because you're going to the bathroom every 20 minutes. So you don't really have much time to kind of get groggy and settle in. Say, I could go for a nap right now, but I may wet the bed, and you don't want that. That'll be what if you wet the bed and during a midday nap, stone cold sober, what's going through your head when you wake up and you're like, oh, shit.
I wonder if I've done that.
I don't know.
I've woken up pretty sweaty sometimes, and I'm like, I
different.
washed my sheets, and I might have pissed the bed. I don't know.
You don't even know. I feel like that's got to be a tough moment for anybody. Just a middayer, and
well, I've told this story before, but I had a pretty late night out drinking, and I was carrying my sheets to go throw them in the wash, and my sheets smelled pretty awful. So I held them up to the light. That was like going up the stairs where I was going to throw them in the laundry, and there's just a 3-foot piss stain in my I was like, oh, that explains the smell.
Better put a little bleach in this load.
Nah, I think those just got hucked in the garbage.
At that point, yeah, you always got to keep a spare bed sheet around. You never know what you're going to do. How many dollar hot dogs or dollar beers would you consume if you went to a dollar hot dog / dollar beer night at the local ballpark? I always hate this kind of question because then I think of like our local ballpark, and it's just I can't bring myself to like support.
I went like last weekend. It was super fun.
Was it fun because of the company you were with, or was the game actually fun?
Both. The game was like really good. It went to extra innings. They scored like 9 runs in the first inning, and then no one scored any runs for the rest of the time. But
okay.
And then it ended on our local team just committing a error.
That's how it ended?
Yeah. Ground ball to the pitcher. Pitcher turns, throws it to first base. It lands in a different zip code. Game over.
Well, that can derail a baseball game really quickly. But I'm glad you brought up this dollar hot dog because I had a fat moment, and maybe you can elaborate on this if you've ever experienced it. But I made a sandwich the other day, and I'm sitting there ready to eat it, and I don't know, I kind of blacked out to a certain degree, where I just kind of slid it to the edge of the plate where enough was hanging off, and I ate it like a couple bites that way, and I was like, then I came to, and I was like, what am I doing right now? I can't even lift the sandwich up to my mouth.
You were like on a recliner.
Yeah, of course I was on a recliner.
And then you were just...
I was just scooting the sandwich off the edge of the plate and then just kind of having a bite by bite. I think maybe I was trying to avoid crumbs or something. I don't know. But then I did come to after a couple bites, and I was like, what? I looked around. I was like, thank God nobody's here right now.
I mean, I can respect it to this part. I don't think that's a fat moment. I think that's a weird moment. If you were like... Because there are times where you make your own sandwich at home, you grab it, you take a bite, and literally everything falls out the back end.
Yeah, I've been on a real big sandwich kick lately.
So what's your go-to sandwich, like cold cuts?
Well, I mean, I would just like to pile all the meat on as much as possible, but this last week or so, I did a little bit of turkey with a little bit of salami. You know, you kind of get a little bit of both there. Go with the real mayo, of course, a slice of cheese. And then I even bought a head of lettuce. And I would tear off some lettuce. I'd rinse them off real quick. Put the lettuce on.
Extra
crunch.
crunch.
Couple of chips on top of that. Cut it diagonally. You're in for a real treat. Sometimes you almost have to make two ahead of time. Because you eat that first one, you're like, okay, well, I could have another sandwich. But I've been limiting it to one.
Yep. This may seem weird, but putting Cheetos on a sandwich,
it's tough since they can kind of roll off a little bit. So you really got to mash it down.
You can't have a toasted bun if you're going to put Cheetos on it. You need that bun to absorb some of the Cheetos.
For sure. And yeah, you got to be careful with the placement of those, especially. That's why, like the classic flat potato chip, they just go on there nice. You're trying to cover surface area. You want every bite to be the same if possible. But I also don't want to crunch my chip until I'm eating it. And it's hard for me to kind of I feel bad just mashing down the chips on the sandwich, but
you need to do it.
You got to do it. It's just part of the process, Don't let it sit out for too long. You get a soggy chip on a sandwich, you're going to have a bad rest of your day. And that's a free fun fact from No Brains, No Headache, okay? That's just how it works in the sandwich world. You get some cold cuts in your fridge and you got a loaf of bread and that's really all you're eating all week. Oh, I bought speaking of small town living, I wanted some chicken for dinner. So I was like, I'll just go over to the grocery store to town over. I'm walking through the rather small meat aisle, which is totally fine. But I'm like, gosh, I don't see any chicken. And I kind of go around. I was like, maybe it's in a different part. It makes no sense. But I searched around, nothing. So I went back to the meat fridge. And I was like, oh, they do sell chicken. It's just the entire chicken. So I had to make one of those beer can chickens, which was actually pretty good.
Because I had 400 beers sitting at the cabin.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard to consume all of that, but...
You can always freeze it, but small town grocery stores are cool.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you go to the meat department, they might have a living cow sitting there, and it's like, you can buy part of this.
Yeah, the guy's just sharpening his cleaver. Can I get you a cut of meat? It's like, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
No, I can get some off without him dying right away. It's like, no, I'm good.
I'm fine. They also have a massive discount rack. Like stuff, I don't know if it's going old or expired or whatever. They just usually have a rack up front, a little life hack for you if you're in a small town grocery store setting. Go check out the discount rack, You could have a hell of a meal for like $6.
Yeah. It also goes with liquor stores because usually they have it some obscure spot where they have a lot of things that they either overbought or are just not selling. They'll put them there. There was one time they had these like kind of knockoff Jose Cuervo bottles of tequila. Originally $45, marked down to $4.99.
That's where it's at.
I bought 6 of them.
Well, that seems like a bit overkill, but to each their own. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not like a crazy bargain shopper, but I do all of my liquor shopping in the big city of Bismarck.
Yeah.
It's usually a stop on the way out of town. Gotta stop through, stock up. I spent $156 on booze the last time I was there. So, you gotta have options, gotta have variety. Especially when you drink everybody else's beer for like the 3 weeks leading up to that, you kind of feel bad. It's like, well, I should probably restock the fridge. This one's on me. I'll bring the beers.
I'll bring the beers.
Moving on episode 254.
Have you ever read about the longest baseball game in history?
So Matt's on a big baseball kick this week.
Yeah.
I have not.
It was between the Pawtucket Red Sox, AAA team for the Red Sox, and the Rochester Red Wings, AAA team for someone.
What year was this?
1981.
Okay.
So
right away when you said Pawtucket Red Sox, I thought this was like, 1926 when the MLB was like just getting going.
No, 1981. It went 33 innings.
Good Lord. Did they play it consecutively?
They played 32 innings consecutively.
And then
they played until like 4 a.m. It went into Easter Sunday morning. And they kept playing because they couldn't get a hold of the commissioner of the league.
Yeah, he was sleeping.
To tell them to stop and resume it some other time. And like it was very cold where they were playing. So in the Northeast.
It's
so
in like March or April, usually the time of the year when Easter is.
So they were burning broken bats in the dugout to stay warm. And then they started burning the benches in the dugout to stay warm.
This is a very interesting way to stay warm. I feel like at that point, we probably should have called it about, 15 innings earlier.
Yeah.
Just be like, how about we just wrap this up another time?
Two notable players from that game, Wade Boggs and Cal Ripken Jr.
Wow. Interesting.
Played in that game. And
so if it was Cal Ripken Jr., does that mean the other team was an Orioles?
that would seem like it.
Okay, we're connecting the dots here, and I like it. They're burning bats. What kind of? I mean, I guess it's the '80s, but nowadays it's like, okay, what kind of chemicals or what kind of fumes are you getting off those bats if you're burning bats for warmth? And then is it like the poor guy who's like the shittiest on the team who never sees an ounce of playing time? They're like, Ron, give us your bats. We're burning them.
I know you've only played catcher. We're going to need you at shortstop for the next 13 innings.
How did they not run out of pitchers?
I don't know. They were just using everyone, I guess.
And when a game goes that long, is it almost like at a certain point, I feel like there's got to be a full-on reset where it's like, okay, we could start bringing pitchers back in.
Pawtucket had a guy that relieved their pitcher in the 10th inning, and he pitched until the 22nd inning.
I mean, pretty impressive. They're not burning through arms. They're burning through the bats, but they're not burning through arms.
So there was one guy that, like, it set all sorts of records for a professional baseball team. Like, one guy went 0 for 15.
What about the people in the stands?
So it started out, this is actually a great fact. It started out with, I think, 1,700 fans. And at the end of the game, there was 19 people still there, which I thought was a lot.
I mean, that is pretty impressive. It's probably the kid from the Midwest, and his dad took out like a second mortgage just to like afford the trip out to like see the game. That's the only game they're going to, and they're like, we are staying until the conclusion of this.
But I did lie, actually. There was 20 people in the stands. The last one was the manager of the Pawtucket team's nephew. And so he was just sitting there like his uncle's managing. He can't leave.
And he got pneumonia.
And
passed.
So his parents reported him missing to the police. And the police had to tell the parents that the game was still going on. And the guy that pitched from the 10th to the 22nd inning, and he didn't quit because he was tired. He quit because he got ejected from the game, and his manager just let him go home.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's no chance of you coming back in, it's like, hey, I got the kids at home and actually left a turkey in the oven. I wasn't expecting this to go 33. You mind if I go get that from my burning house?
And I think it was, in the top of the 21st inning, a team scored. So they're like, thank God. Bottom of the 21st inning, Wade Boggs hits a home run. He's like, this team was so mad at him for like the game still going on. He's like, I got like 2 high fives and other people wanted to just slug me.
I mean, I guess you play to the level of your competition. I mean, that would be so funny though if you're like, oh, I'm gonna put some food in the crock pot before I head to the ballpark today. When I get home, the chicken tortilla soup could be ready to go.
You get home and your house is just engulfed in flames.
Oh, and this was in Pawtucket, or I guess it doesn't matter.
Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
was the local, like the police, if they're dealing with missing children's cases, and I'm sure that wasn't only.
I'll want to correct myself. It was one of the umpires brought his nephew to the game.
Okay, fair. Matt has got a few corrections, and honestly, you could tell me that an elephant played second base for the Pawtucket Red Sox, and I would have believed you. But I appreciate your sense of articulate journalism. So.
But they finally got a hold of the commissioner of the league at 3:30 in the morning because said fast.
What did they write a piece of mail and the mailman was out the next morning?
Honestly, probably got there about the same amount of time that they're like, we got to call this after like the 19th inning.
He probably woke up and was like, what are these idiots? I told them to stop playing in the 25th inning.
Yeah, so they said he was horrified and told them to stop playing at the end of the next inning, which was the 32nd inning. And then they came back a couple months later, started it up again.
1 inning.
Yeah. And like most of the guys that were on the team weren't part of the first game because it's the minor leagues. Guys move up and down, get cut. So like the winning pitcher wasn't even on the team.
Well, and especially this is the 80s. I'm sure what if you're the kid who brought your score sheet that day? And you're just on like page 5. Yeah. You're like,
I'm out of, not now, damn it.
I'm out of ink.
Yeah.
My ink ran out. And the worst time of the year to do it. I mean, if this is a June, July, August game, you could probably play all night. It's actually pretty fair conditions middle of the night.
It's Easter in April. And they said when they got done and they were leaving the stadium, they saw people getting up for Easter Mass. They were just in their ball uniforms.
And you're just a disheveled baseball player on your way home to find your crock pot on fire. No chicken tortilla soup for you, pal.
Your house is gone. So is your family that you were cooking that for. But they were going to play it at Fenway, like when they resumed, because they knew they would sell a ton of tickets. But at the same time, the MLB was on strike, so they couldn't do it because that would be technically crossing the picket line.
Oh.
So they had to do it at their shitty stadium, but it sold 5,700 tickets.
For 1 inning.
Yep.
So you think they're like, we went this whole time, we couldn't score a run to save our lives. And it turns out when, you get some energy and you recharge the batteries a little bit, it turns out you can just end a 32-inning game in 1 inning in the 33rd.
And the umpire's nephew, David Craig, has still not attended another baseball game in his entire life.
Well, that's kind of a tough start.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
What if you're like one of the players and you're just, there's trouble in paradise at home and your wife was like, if you go out after tonight's game and you're not home in a timely manner, we're done for.
There is a...
Like, how many dudes got divorced after this or broken up with? How many dudes showed up at home and their spouse was gone?
So there's actually a story. Louis Aponte, he promised his wife didn't believe him that the game was going till 3 a.m. because this is the guy that got ejected in the 22nd inning. So he got home at around 3 a.m. And his wife didn't believe him, but the newspaper didn't come out that Sunday, or it wouldn't have been with that game. So we had to wait until that Monday morning to prove that the game was still going on so that his wife didn't think that he was out cheating on him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And the technology, the information technology, the speed of which plays a crucial part in this. Nowadays you can be like, no, seriously, honey, you just open up the sports app and be like, it's in the 33rd. Nowadays, what do you think is the longest they're going to play, before they just call it and pick it up another day? Because there have been games.
1 o'clock, maybe?
Yeah, I feel like there's been some late ones where they start late on the East Coast or the West Coast. For
those
that
games
matter,
have to suck too, but that's probably why they did the ghost runner rule too, because getting a guy on second, someone almost always scores right away.
Well, yeah, I mean they have made significant changes to baseball to speed up the game a little bit, and hopefully not to go 33 innings. And the home life of all the players involved. Was the away team like, all right? They're like, sweet, we can go to the hotel, and the manager's like, get on the bus, we're headed to the next city.
Probably that's what it. Or no, they had to play the next day at like 11 a.m. and they didn't postpone it.
Not even a half hour?
Nope.
Not even 15 minutes? Just to...
Yeah. The 19 fans left in the stadium got lifetime passes to the Pawtucket Red Sox.
Which isn't that great.
Yeah, I mean, it's like money-wise, we're looking at maybe $1,400 if you go to every game. But
like free pizzas for a year, but it's just one medium per month.
Yeah, free hot dogs for life.
No drinks.
No drinks, though. Boo!
Can't do it. Well, no, Matt, I didn't hear about the longest baseball game ever played until today, so
it's nuts.
That is pretty wild. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the roster nightmare that's going on. Like, what if earlier in the game, your left fielder just tweaks something and you got to pull him, and you pinch run late in the game, or pinch bat and pinch hitter or something like that, and then what do you do? If I was one of the guys on the bench, I know I'm not going back in the game. I'm not going to start burning bats to stay warm. I'm just going to go in the clubhouse and hang out for a while.
But it's minor league. They don't have the clubhouse. You have to go across the field.
I would go across the field. I would grab an extra sweatshirt.
Let me know when we're hitting again. I'll be back.
That's just ridiculous. 33 innings.
Some guy has an impromptu hammock set up on shortstop. Just like, let me know if a ball comes near me.
I can't believe they played that long.
The right fielder has a twin mattress just laying down.
Yeah, instead of going to the dugout every time, he just opens the outfield gate and you just see him curl up in a blanket for a while. He's like, I was the last out last inning.
I think it's pretty cool that you have two Hall of Famers that played in that game too.
That is, I mean, Wade Boggs, has got all sorts of tall tales about him. And 33 inning baseball game where he hit a dong shot, that might be up there. That's definitely top of the list.
Wade Boggs went 4 for 12 with 1 RBI.
Oh, batting .333, not bad.
Ripken went 2 for 13, no RBIs.
It's room for improvement.
Yep, okay. Which he did.
Yeah. I think he had a fine career after that.
There's something to say that, because, he's the Iron Man. He played 2,700 games in a row.
Well, he played
33 innings in a row. If you can do that, you can play anything in a row.
Add that. There's 2-3 more games in that one game if you're going at a 9-inning count. Yeah. But very interesting stuff. Matt, I saw you're driving the truck today.
Yeah, every single light on the dashboard is on.
Okay. Might want to get that figured out, or don't.
Yeah, so you know how much it was extra for me to insure it a month?
$12.
$8.
Nice. If I didn't have a business tied to the truck, I probably would have paid the same. So apparently when this is how they want you to run business in America, you got to pay extra for car insurance. Bullshit. But like I said, I don't know much about vehicles. When people start talking to me, I like to joke and be like, well, what year is it? And they're like, well, it's a 2013. I go, well, there's your problem right there. And then they're like, oh, yeah, tell me about it. What a terrible year to have a vehicle. But you ever have the days where you wash your car, you fill it up with gas, maybe even put a new air freshener on, and you just feel like Dale Earnhardt Sr. just going around the track.
You start applying to car shops in your local neighborhood. What's your experience? Well, get this.
Get this. I vacuumed the whole car.
Yeah.
And dusted off the dash. So we're looking pretty good. I actually had bought a new gas cap because of the gas cap fiasco of, what was that, 2025?
Yeah.
Gas cap fiasco. Matt drove back from a out-of-town show. I decided to drink heavily. Oldest trick in the book. And we stopped to fill with gas. And my gas cap was not attached. It definitely just went flying. Next time I realized it, by the chance of the automobile gods, I look over and there's a gas cap just sitting in the gas station parking lot. So I was like, okay, I need to buy a new one. So I went and finally bought a new one because I just felt it was the right thing to do. And I go to replace it, Matt, and I open it, and it is the same exact gas cap that I found on the parking lot of the gas stations.
So there's part of me that thinks that it might be like common for all those vehicles. But part of me thinks that you might have got extremely lucky.
Well, I didn't even realize it until that day when I went to go fill up with gas, like a few days after the fact. And I opened my gas cap, like the cover thing, and I'm like, where's the gas cap? And I was so confused for a while. I was like, is somebody playing a prank on me? I'm like, did I forget about this? And then I'm like, oh, yeah. Matt filled up in small town, North Dakota, as we just took leaks on the side of the vehicle. Let's just say I hope they didn't check their security footage the next day.
Yeah, they're going to see my tiny dong.
And I look over, and there's the gas cap. Fast forward a few months, because that's how long I went with this just impromptu gas cap. Yeah, I opened it up, and it was the same exact one. So I went and returned it. And he's like, anything wrong with it? I was like, no, it just turns out I already have the same.
Yeah,
so I don't know what difference this is going to make.
You never know when you need a backup gas cap.
Well, I don't. So I know where to find them if needed. But yeah, I just think it's funny when you like do the most minimal thing, like even just changing their air filter, and like you pop the top back on, you're just like, oh man, got some grease on my fingers. Yeah. I think I know what I'm doing. No idea.
It's like I put new window washer fluid in my car the other day, and I was like,
time for a nap.
Yeah,
I deserve this one.
I applied to be a parts manager at Napa Auto Parts after that. So
got denied. But
yeah,
I applied.
almost immediately.
Yeah, I got
the guy actually called me just to tell me how dumb it was. But I've been on a huge Wikipedia kick.
It doesn't sound like you at all.
I've just been going down rabbit holes Wikipedia.
You think it's since your concussion? You said something about when I was talking to you about you get concussed, you start going down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
You think there's any correlation there? Or?
Definitely.
Okay.
So I started reading about Lewis and Clark. And then I found out some fun facts about Lewis and Clark.
Please share.
The second black person ever to be in North Dakota was Clark's slave, York.
Oh.
And then I was
Who's the first?
Some fur trader up in Pembina.
And we have records of this?
Yep.
Do you think they were the first and second ones, or just the first and second ones that were like hey, there's a black guy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
write it down.
That's
Go
honestly
to the courthouse.
what we do in some North Dakota small town. They're like, "Oh, black guy, look at him." But so I started reading more about that, and then I was like, I wonder if Meriwether had a slave, because you never read about that. So I looked up. No, he didn't. Which I was like, that's pretty cool of him. Then I learned what actually happened. So Meriwether
he left all of his slaves at home.
He did. Apparently, when your parents die and they own slaves, your slaves get like deeded to the next person.
So William Clark had the one slave. Meriwether Lewis
34 slaves
on the expedition. And then Meriwether Lewis had 0 slaves. And I mean, if you fast forward now, people would be like, oh, wow, he's a slave owner. That's no good. It's like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
William Clark has a whole nother house
Yeah.
for his slaves.
But so Meriwether Lewis, no slaves. And then turns out he like didn't buy a person, but he hired a black dude to be his servant on the trip.
Big difference there.
And it was after the trip started. He hired him in St. Louis, which I was like, wow, it doesn't seem that far. Turns out the voyage started in St. Louis. So he didn't make it far where he's like, this sucks. I have to do everything myself. And
what are they doing? Like unload the canoe, and he grabs like the 4 items. He's like, all right, now what?
Yeah, he's probably up there like loading spices and sugars shit into the boat as Clark's over there just sawing logs on his hammock. And he's like, this sucks. We made it 30 feet up the Missouri, and I already paid someone to be my servant for the rest of the time.
He's probably loading up the canoe with all these spices while Meriwether Lewis is just unloading his rifle at a squirrel across the river so he can take it back to Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, I was going down. I was like, part of me, like, I'm trying to write a bit about this, like, but it sounds really dumb. But I was like, you think that, like, he's like, you know what? The old Bill Clark, I'm better than you. I'm not going to bring a slave on this trip. 2 feet up the river, he's like,
turn around.
Yeah, it's not a slave if I pay him $1 for the entire expedition.
He's like, would you like to come on this expedition with me? I will pay you one crisp high five.
And you will do all of my work for me.
I mean, honestly, logistically, it just sounds like another body on the trip that is not needed.
I'm gonna go on record here, and I don't really have a lot to back this up. Lewis and Clark were kind of assholes.
Oh, for sure. You can't just go into the wilderness being a softie.
And they just stole Sakakawea from her family.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
They were just like going through South Dakota, and they're like, "You're kind of stacked." Just stole her.
I don't think that's what happened, but I mean, you look at my woman.
Most of what I know about Lewis and Clark is based off of the movie Almost Heroes, if I'm being honest.
And honestly, if you don't know what the movie Almost Heroes is, I would
watch it.
Pause the podcast right now. Drop everything you're doing.
Leave us a review on iTunes.
Yeah, and then go watch Almost Heroes, and then come back. And there's a guy named Fontenot on there. He just gets me every time.
Gene Levy.
Yeah.
Arguably his greatest role.
You saw her breast?
You saw her breast?
But even the way they depict Skakui and whatever homegirl's name is on Almost Heroes, it's like, do they ever get cold? Because they're just wearing the same, deer skin outfit or whatever it is. It's the leather or something.
Yeah. It's really weird that you hear more about the dog that Lewis and Clark had than you do about like the actual other people on the voyage. I think the dog's name was Seaman.
Seymour? I don't know. Who knows what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's Seaman.
Well, I guess we can figure it out. Well, but once again, I hope this dog actually had a practical role. Seaman. You weren't kidding. But I hope he actually, I don't know, I hope he knew what he was tracking or something. Because if you're just bringing a dog for a leisurely stroll on a trek across the frontier, just like the slave, I just, once again, I think it's just another person or thing that you have to worry about and feed and keep track of. How many people were on this expedition total? Do you have any idea on the?
I thought it was 50 some.
There's 50 people on there? I thought for sure this was a group of 8. We are going to do some more Wikipedia searching here.
Oh, it's them and 30 others, but they picked up a bunch of people along the way.
I mean, I guess so, especially for what do you call it when you have to pull your boat through the land?
Fording?
Fording, yeah. You imagine fording?
Yeah. I can imagine.
Sounds terrible.
I can imagine setting our boat on fire and just walking the rest of the way.
Well, and if you're playing a 33-inning baseball game and it's cold, setting the boat on fire for warmth, not a bad idea. But then, how do you get from A to B? I mean, you think that in our everyday lives, you come across a little bit of a conundrum and, you lose your marbles over somebody cutting you off in traffic. It's like, well, imagine getting cut off by a forest of trees that you have to cut down and then haul your boat through. In that case, I want the 50 people with a lot of mouths to feed, though.
Yeah.
Was everybody getting paid?
No. Except for that servant.
It was Lewis and Clark and then the servant. And everybody just gave the servant the stink eye the whole time because he was getting paid. And
I want to know what their map looks like because they mapped their way to the Pacific.
I bet it's wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, it's overlay it from a satellite and it's just completely different. It's like Lewis and Clark, not only were they assholes, they're dumb as shit.
I'm assuming, like, we got the map in the studio here. I'm assuming they drew what looks like Ohio over the western half of the state, or of the United States. And how did they know they weren't in Canada or not?
I think compasses existed, and they have something like that.
But how does the compass just like kind of start beeping and say, "Oh, you're in Canada"? I don't think so.
I mean, there was only like 17 states when they did that.
Yeah, but how did they know they weren't in Canada if they were or were not? You go too far north, you're going to be in Canada land. I mean, we don't have to find out the answer.
Yeah,
now.
I'm gonna read more about.
It's easy to know when you hit the ocean.
Yeah,
it's like, there's a large body of like water.
Charlie and Always Sunny, when he's like, "What's that?" They're like, "That's the Atlantic Ocean." And they're like, he's like, "Can you?" And he's like, "No, you can't swim across it."
Even just like sailing back in the day just sounds wild.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Like, how do you sail into the wind? I looked that up. You don't. You can go like sideways, kind of.
Use kind of a serpentine path, just zigzag.
Yeah, you're not going to make any progress if you want to go sideways. Yeah, it's like up.
So if the wind is in your face, it's like, all right, everybody get comfortable.
Like if there was a guy that was planning on leaving his wife and lived on an island, and he was like, "I'm going this day," and the wind was in the wrong direction, he's like, "I might have to wait a couple days."
Kind of like in the movie Castaway.
Yeah.
Where he
used a porta potty as a wind sail.
Well, and then it was like the way it's depicted in the movie. He's just like sitting there, like, I don't know, chopping up coconuts or whatever it is he was doing. And he had a piece of fabric on a stick, like in the rocks, and it was blowing one way. And then all of a sudden, 1 second, it just went the other way. He's like, I gotta go. What if it was just a phantom? What if it was just a phantom gust?
In college, did you ever have like one of those huge, kind of auditorium classes?
Yeah.
So
I went to a real university.
Yeah, I had one. But it was anthropology, and the guy was talking. He's like, "Yeah, so in Castaway, when Wilson floats away and Tom Hanks is so devastated, he was so attached to an object. It was the only thing that gave him comfort." And someone in the back just goes, "Gay."
I want to know what, usually you only see the front side of Wilson.
Yeah, I
want to see what the back side looked like.
He was plowing that thing.
And he went with a dude name of all things.
Yeah.
Could have given him a little bit longer hair and named her Wanda. And that would have been a little less weird. Still weird, but
there's got to be a deleted scene where he like looks over and it's just like "Let's Get It On" starts playing.
He just looks around. It's like, no, don't worry, Tom Hanks. Nobody is watching.
Come here often.
Yeah. Speaking of no one's looking, he just takes off his little napkin. Oh man, we got episode 254. No brains, no headache. Matt with the knowledge today. Longest game ever played. Now a Lewis and Clark deep dive. Just what I needed on this Wednesday. June 25th is the day of recording. So Matt, I was just kind of glancing through the socials, and we're gearing up for the NFL season. From today, it's 35 days until preseason. I mean, nobody gives a shit, but that's what the countdown is at. And I came across the Tampa Bay Buccaneers home game schedule, and they said game themes announced for the 2025 home schedule. It happens to be the Buccaneers' 50th season. So they're really trying to go all out. Now, Matt, we got 10 games here. Do you want to take just a guess at any of these game themes that they have?
Whiteout?
No, whiteout is not one of them.
Redout?
Redout is not one of them.
Creamsicle?
Creamsicle is not one of them.
Pirate?
Not close, but no cigar. Oh, wait, creamsicle is one. I'm sorry. I do apologize. There is one creamsicle one. Well, let me just throw them at you, because I was kind of on the same boat as you.
Are they like completely away from football?
They have little to nothing to do with football. August 9th, their openers play football. So I guess the theme of the football game is just playing the football game. I really don't understand that one. August 23rd is Am Better Health. It's just a sponsored game. The 21st is the 50th season game, which you think you would do that at the beginning of the season. That's sponsored by Raymond James. The 28th, Ticketmaster is the theme for the game.
Oh, so you use to buy the tickets.
You want to come to the game? Here's the theme. Buy tickets from Ticketmaster. Then we have Crucial Catch, Salute to Service, Ring of Honor, She is Football, Creamsicle. And when they play your beloved Panthers at home on January 4th, Inspired Change. Just like you, Matt, I was way off when I was like, oh, I wonder what the themes are going to be like.
2 of those are actually themes. Most of them are just random ideas that aren't.
The Creamsicle is the theme. And then the 50th season, I don't understand too much. You think you'd put that at the beginning of the season, like, hey, we're starting our 50th season. No, they're a few weeks into the season.
I could argue that going by their logic, if we had a high school basketball game, we're like, hey, tonight's theme is AIDS. What does that mean? It's AIDS.
Tonight's theme is Tourette's awareness, and people are just shouting random things.
Cock! My name's Bill, and I have an 11-inch dick.
Somebody said, what is She is Football? Check out the replies on this one. Absolutely wrong response. What? I don't understand it.
So there's this girl that looks like kind of Lord Farquaad a little bit on TikTok, and her name's like Kara something. It's like Cares with Kara, and someone made a parody account called Farts with Kara, and it's just overlaying farts on her videos, and it has like 5,000 followers.
Civilization is doomed. Somebody said, I really don't know what this means, but happy 50th. I don't know what, I'm still. Am Better Health, ? Are the Bucks listed in their ghost network, ? I don't know. Ticketmaster game sounds legit. Yeah, I thought that it would be.
I bought my Ticketmaster games on SeatGeek.
Yeah, everybody buy your tickets for that game on a third-party platform. Call me crazy, but we might go undefeated at home. Yeah, that is crazy. I just, for some reason, I saw this, and I was just like, this is not the themes that I was anticipating. I was with you of like a whiteout, a red out, like Pirates. Creamsicle is definitely one of them. Throwback night or something, it's like wear old jerseys or like something like that.
Yeah, it could be like, or do like Tom Brady night, and you would give away like Tom Brady wigs or something.
That's an option. We should be the PR for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but just a little quip that I thought I'd bring up. Do you have anything else for episode 254 here, Matt?
No, we've went long enough. We can get out of here. If you want to follow us on social media, you can. That's No Brains, No Headache. Just look us up. We are the ones with the most followers. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Leave us a review on iTunes or leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review, do all that jazz. And you can watch every episode.
Yeah, check us out on YouTube. That seems to be the way to go. You can watch us do our shenanigans. And once again, I think we made the right decision of not posting the 4-minute episode. We gave you guys an extra hour longer. So I think we're going to take a little bit of break for a couple of weeks. We got 4th of July coming up. I'm going to be out of town. Matt and I are just going to do a little R&R, but we will let you know when we are back. So up next, we have episode 255. Thank you for listening.
You're watching Channel 4 News with 5-time Emmy Award-winning anchor Ron Burgundy and Tits McGee.
Good evening, San Diego. I'm Veronica Corning.